What's poppin'? I'm back in action with another episode, and today I'm playing favorites, talking about my team, the Raiders, the Derek Carr trade rumor, the Derek Carr extension rumors. I'm gonna break it all down to you guys. Now, as you guys know, there's been a lot of trade talk taking place, and a lot of the topic of discussion has been around Derek Carr. Organizations have reached out to the Raiders and have attempted making offers, but the Raiders have shut them down. Carr has been the quarterback for the Raiders for years now, so not only does he know the system, but he also has chemistry with everyone on that team, including John Gruden. Him and John Gruden have had disagreements in the past, which is completely normal. Quarterbacks and coaches are not always going to agree on the same things. That's the game of football. It's a business. That's just the way that it's going to be. But overall, they have a pretty good relationship. Gruden has said in reports in the past that not only is Carr the quarterback of the Raiders, but that he and the organization believes in him. So this upcoming year is really going to have to be the year for Carr to prove to Raider Nation if he's really worth it. So now we can finally put this Carr rumor trade to rest, to bed, but at least for now. Carr has disappointed a lot of Raider Nation within the past with things that have taken place and his production not being up to standards as the way everyone would want our quarterback standards to be. But he had a pretty good season last year with 4,013 yards and 27 touchdowns. That's not bad at all. He did pretty good. I think that he kind of showed his worth last year. Of course, he made mistakes, and I know that just happens with the quarterback, but it's not only him that's making those mistakes, and I want to talk about shoring up the defense a little bit later, but right now I want to talk about his extension. Now, Spotrac came out with a projection on Twitter, okay, and this is going to be just a hypothesis, but it was a hypothesis that literally ran, and now the entire media is kind of trying to project if Carr is going to get an extension or not. Now, his contract is not up until 2023, so of course he has 2 years left. In my opinion, it's a little bit too early to be talking about a contract extension. I think that, again, Carr needs to prove his worth, and we need to see what he's going to do before we offer him anything. That's just my opinion. But overall, Spotrac projected Carr at a 5-year, $160 million extension, which to me sounds insane. That just sounds like way too much money, especially for a quarterback who hasn't given us exactly what we need to be. And I'm sorry for saying us, but I'm a Raider fan, and I really honestly cannot help but say that. But for the most part, Spotrac came out with this report. Now, everybody's trying to figure out what would be the best solution, okay, in everybody's opinion. Now, Vincent Bonsignor on Twitter had came out with something that was amazing, and I took it and I ran with it because it made a lot of sense to me. He said that Carr should be in terms signed to a short-term extension would give us cap flexibility, because right now we need that cap flexibility to pretty much shore up our defense, and that's kind of what I want to talk about right now, because the defense should be the number one focus, okay? The defense hasn't been so good, especially within the past year. We really need a veteran presence in the defense, and we need to build the defensive front. So if Carr were to get a short-term extension, that gives us the flexibility to sign pieces on both offense and defense, because we need help with our O-line as well, but our defense should obviously be the main priority. And I know as a Raider fan, sometimes you think, oh my gosh, sometimes we don't make the smartest decisions when signing people, but I'm really hoping this upcoming year is going to be something different and something special. But we got to work on our defense. We got to work on our run game. We got to work on our fourth quarter pass rush. Like, the defense is the one that's going to win the game, especially at the end of the game. Like, it cannot always be the offense holding the defense down. And I know in a lot of the games in this past season, that's how it pretty much was. We really got to have a strong defense and, again, a veteran presence. We need that to be able to lead these younger guys. I kind of want to move forward because Marcus Mariota has also got a lot of trade offers as well. Teams have been interested in him as well. Marcus Mariota is going to be due over $10 million this upcoming year and $12 million in incentive. And let me tell you, that's pretty good for a backup quarterback, especially one that only played in one game, and that one game was in week 15 when Carr went out with his groin injury. And he had a pretty good game. He had 9 rushes for 85 yards and 1 touchdown, which is pretty spectacular to have only played a small portion of the game. Now, me thinking, especially sitting back as an audience or a fan, I was so confused as to why they didn't give Mariota a little bit more playtime. There were times when Carr was making mistakes and fumbling the ball so much. You would think as a coach or even as an organization, let's sit him out. Let's put this backup quarterback in to see what he can really do. Now, obviously, the little production that he did that game, other organizations were interested in him just because of what he did. Now, Mariota was a second overall pick. He has had a really bad track record of getting injured, and I think that has pretty much stopped him from really getting the starting positions that Now it's kind of up in the air that he could possibly get. Now I kind of want to break his contract down to you guys because I know I mentioned the $12 million incentive. Now because he didn't play that much last year, that $12 million incentive is now going to be moved on to another team. So say if he's a starting quarterback and he does great, his production is great, he gets a $12 million incentive, which means that he's going to be worth over $20 million. And a lot of teams don't think that it's worth it to pick him up by giving away a draft pick just to pick up this quarterback, and now he's getting paid for so much, and who knows if he'd even be a franchise quarterback with the team for a long period of time. So his trade is a little bit more frozen right now. A lot of people are kind of assuming that he might be released. Now, I have a feeling that he might be released as well. By releasing Marcus Mariota, I know he can save us in so many different ways, but we need, again, that cap flexibility to be able to shore up that defense and everything else that's going on, and be able to move pieces around and see where guys fit and bring veteran guys in. Like, especially if Marcus Mariota isn't going to get play time, it's kind of a waste of money for us to even keep him. I do believe that the Raiders probably most likely believe in Nathan Peterman because Derek Carr, made mistakes last year, and it wasn't really times where they were sitting him down. Now, I understand it's your franchise quarterback, and they're going to give him as many chances as they can, but as Raider Nation, we're tired of seeing chances happen. We want to see some change happen. Now, I want to talk about the Russell Wilson trade as well. Now, the Russell Wilson trade, I think this entire thing is just about leverage. Russell Wilson hasn't even told his team. He hasn't even requested a trade. But his agent came out with a report last week saying that the teams that he would trade to are going to be the Raiders, the Bears, the Saints, and I believe it was the Cowboys. Now, I know that this is kind of intriguing people because people are like, wow, like if Russell Wilson's released, that'd be a quarterback that we would want to pick up. Now, I completely 100% agree. We would make it to the Super Bowl within minutes with Russell Wilson and a strong defensive front. Now, I think that this, again, is just done for leverage. I think that there's so many issues going on with the Seahawks, and Pete Carroll being such a defensive-minded guy and Russell Wilson being such an offensive guy. Now, the O-line needs a lot of work, and I guess Russell Wilson has been having a little bit of drama with the organization as far as requesting that the O-line needs help and someone to protect him because he has been sacked so many times, especially last season. And as a franchise quarterback, when your organization is not listening to you, you're going to do anything to make them change it and switch it up. Now, the Seahawks do not want to lose Russell Wilson. He's a phenomenal quarterback. Russell Wilson, his contract ends in 2023. I don't think I think he'll still be with the Seahawks within the next year. Now, the next year and after that, maybe it'll switch up where Russell will have enough and be like, okay, it's time for me to go. Now I'm going to request this trade. But you really don't want to trade if you didn't request one. Now, there's things that are taking place, and I guess reports saying that his wife Sierra wants to be in a bigger establishment because she is an entertainer. And obviously those places, Las Vegas, Chicago, etc., those are really big entertainment places. So I don't know what's going to happen with that trade. It's not going to happen this year. I guarantee Russell Wilson is not leaving the Seahawks, at least this year. Now, when his contract ends, that's really when I think he'll be talking. But for the most part, the Seahawks are a Super Bowl making team. They have little pieces and help that they need, to be able to get where they need to be, especially starting with that O-line. So I 100% agree with him as far as wanting to better his team and the organization not believing in him, because it sucks when your organization not believe in you, but when your organization doesn't listen to you. It's just leverage. It's just all leverage, and it honestly just gives the media something to talk about. Alright guys, I want to talk about some controversy that has taken place over the course of the weekend. And as you guys know, athletes and activism is at an all-time high right now. You have athletes from all types of sports coming out and speaking their minds on the things that are taking place in this world. Now, of course, with someone who's trying to shed light and make a difference in their community, you always have an antagonist. And that antagonist is actually Zlatan Ibrahimovic. He's a striker for AC Milan. He came out in an interview pretty much stating that LeBron James should do what he's best at, that he pretty much should mind his business in regards to politics because that's not his field. Now, I want to read over to you guys these quotes so you guys are able to understand better. Zlatan states, "He is phenomenal at what he is doing, but I don't like when they have some kind of status and they do politics at the same time. What are they doing? Do what you were good at." Okay, and of course LeBron James comes out and reports in a report biting back at this particular interview and says, "I'll use my platform to continue to shed light on everything that's going on around this country and around this world. There's no way I would ever just stick to sports because I understand how powerful this platform and my voice is." Now, this is a situation that has so many people completely divided. I'm very opinionated. Of course, like everybody has their own opinions, but I'm not going to let anything disturb my opinion as far as athletes participating in activism, because this is a free world. It's freedom of speech. We are allowed to do so. Now, I watched a few videos because I kind of wanted to still understand and see both sides. You have people bashing LeBron, saying that he is not well informed. He should not be involved in political commentary, that he is not a political powerhouse. You do not have to be a political powerhouse or have the background of that to know exactly what you're talking about. All you have to do is educate yourself. And in my opinion, Zlatan did not educate himself enough. Now, it just confuses me because you are from a different country, so we don't have the same opinions. Like, you're from a completely different country. So for you to come out in this interview and now you have the media and the eyes all on you, because I really felt like this is more of an attention thing, because LeBron had came out and talked about Zlatan's hypocrisy, because Zlatan is from Sweden, okay? And he came out a few years ago claiming undercover racism because I guess he doesn't get the attention that he wants from the media because he doesn't have a traditional Sweden surname. Now, Zlatan is not even Sweden. He's actually Bosnia and Croatia. And now you're contradicting yourself because it's all of a sudden a huge issue when it's something that pertains to you. But when it pertains to someone else in a different country, you have an issue with it. And honestly, he didn't say it about any other athlete. He stated about LeBron James. Mind you, there's tons of athletes that have come out about activism and protesting and different things of that nature, but he specifically went for LeBron James, someone who does so much for this community. Now, I don't agree with what anybody else is saying as far as he is not able to talk about politics, etc., etc. LeBron James is a role model. And not only is he a role model, he is a human being. So I like the point that LeBron James said, I'm not going to shut up and dribble. I'm going to speak my mind on the things that are taking place out in this world. Like, we want to see change, and the only way that you're going to see change is that if the community speaks up. And the community, especially as an audience sitting back, we look up to these athletes. They're role models for so many people in this world, and them making difference in their communities is so important, and using their platform to make a change is super, super important. But athletes should be able to speak out on their likes and dislikes because we're human. Now, LeBron James has done so much. He has also opened up he has his I Promise school, which is in Akron, Ohio. I'm hoping I'm saying that right, which is a completely amazing school. He not only provides resources for family, he helps children in an education and also emotional learning, which is really, really important. A lot of these kids need help with emotional learning, especially with this type of world that we're living in. And LeBron James has always been the type of person that has always talked about social injustice, racial discrimination, and even voter suppression. These athletes are putting their integrity and their principle first, okay? They're icons. They can do that. Now, everybody else can do that, but LeBron James is making a difference in his communities, and now he is having people come out like Zlatan and be so against the things that he are doing. And now this entire situation has completely divided people up. But I do believe that athletes are allowed to be humans first, allowed to stand up for their rights and stand up for the things that they believe in. And if people don't like it, they can turn off their television and not even listen to it. And Zlatan's not even from this country, so you don't have the same opinions as Americans do. So I don't understand. Now you want the attention because you're not getting it in your country, so now you think you're going to get it in America. And you are getting it in America, but you're making yourself look like you have no education at all. And that's just my opinion about it. I believe that athletes in activism will always continue to stand out for what they believe in, and I'm going to push for it as well. Alright guys, so I spoke my mind. That's all I got for you guys today. Do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll meet you guys back here later this week. I had a ball. I spoke my mind. I feel good. Now I'm done. Peace.